What's up, everybody? We're back for episode 5. This week, Cormega, the Realness. Yeah. This is the beat I ended up using on Head Nod Music Volume 2. It's the first track, Dramatic Entrance. This album's dope. J Love on the production. This came out in 2000. This is Cormega's technically his first album, even though he had another album already recorded that never got released called The Testament that was supposed to come out a few years prior to this and ended up coming out on his own label later down the line as his third album, actually. But this is his first album to hit stores. Cormega is a Queens rapper. He was born in Brooklyn but raised in Queens, so we're keeping it Queens. We're doing a lot of Queens lately. We got Cormega, Mega Philosophy over my left shoulder here. This is produced by Large Professor entirely. Really dope album. Came out later in his career. And then this is The Firm. I didn't know, I only have one Cormega vinyl. I figured this would be the most relatable one to Cormega's career and his life. I'll get into that in a second. Basically, Cormega was first heard of on Nas's Illmatic song, One Love. When he shouted out Cormega, he said, "What's up with Cormega? Have you seen him? Are y'all together?" And that's before anyone had heard Cormega rhyme on a record or anything. He was shouted out on Nas's classic album, Illmatic. And he actually made a response song, Cormega, that was supposed to be on his first album, The Testament, called One Love also. So he responded to Nas from jail on that song, which is really dope, One Love. That's not on this album. That's just something I throw out there because that's the first time people heard of him. He was released from jail in 1995. Illmatic came out in 94. So he later would make his first official appearance on a huge record, would be the first Firm record, Affirmative Action, which came out on It Was Written. So Cormega is not on this album, but he was on the first Firm song ever made, Affirmative Action, with Foxy Brown and AZ. You probably know that one if you're familiar with Cormega and Nas, classic song, obviously. And then due to a difference of opinion between Steve Stout, which was Nas's manager, or Nas himself, or both, Cormega ended up not being in the Firm, and Nature ended up replacing him. So him and Nas ended up not getting to collaborate a lot in that first portion of their career. So after he had his differences with Nas, he ended up getting dropped from the label he was on, and his Testament album was indefinitely shelved and never came out. So it took him a couple years to regroup. In the year 2000, he was released from that contract and started his own record label called Legal Hustle Records, and that's where he would end up releasing The Realness in the year 2001. He releases in 2001, not 2000. This would be considered his debut album. It's got 14 songs. The first track is Dramatic Entrance. That's the beat I ended up using. Produced by J Love, who's a producer and an MC from Queens. Extremely talented producer. But this album plays front to back. Pretty untouchable. And then the second song, American Beauty, it's classic right here. Cormega actually produced this. It says in the credits, this beat was used in the movie Juice in a scene. You could tell it's very cinematic. But this is one of the illest songs in New York hip-hop history, man. Just check this.
Yeah, it's nighttime. I can't sleep. My pen's begging me to write rhymes. Stories of felony despite time. I embrace the urge. On the tip of my tongue, I taste the word. A story is born. My glorious song. Hip-hop cannot ignore me for long. I know what last minute.
You know what I'm saying? Damn. And that's the second track. You know, I'm not skipping any yet. The third track is Thon and Kikko, which is featuring Prodigy and produced by Havoc. So shout out to Havoc again. Rest in peace, Prodigy. Also featured on this album, we got Tragedy Gaddafi, and then there's a bonus track with Mobb Deep on it. But that's the only features Prodigy, Tragedy Gaddafi, you know, Queensbridge legends. And then Mobb Deep is on a hidden track at the end called Killer's Theme, which is really dope. I've heard it before, but I didn't realize it was a hidden track on this album. I think if you let the album play out at the end, it'll play as the 15th song on the 14th track, like, you know what I mean, like 5 minutes into it. And then the next track is the Saga. On the run with huge rewards. Produced by Big Ty. Till they go view at the morgue. Life is deep, we all just trying to eat. Rap's a mental narcotic, I supply the street. Look at my life, I see white coke and black roses, and tears shed from past soldiers. We all walk in the path chosen. From the cradle to the caskets lowered, I still got the black ski mask to throw on, but I could get richer on these tracks I flow on. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hustling no more. Look at my life. I had to do that because the Saga remix was a song I listened to in middle school. Shout out to John Babin. We used to bump that all the time, along with a number of Cormega songs. I got into Cormega right around the time I got into Nas. I didn't realize they had beef at first until I, discovered the diss tracks and all that. But Cormega is such a dope MC, and that song, the Saga remix, is I heard first before the original. I do like the remix better. That beat is sick with the piano, but that's a great song, the Saga, produced by Big Ty. And then the next song is Are You My Nigga? It's produced by Jay Supreme, who did 2 beats on this project. This is definitely a dope song. Very soulful, from the heart. The next song is called Unforgiven. I can't skip any of these because whenever I listen to this album, I listen to these straight through. I love this project. I love Cormega. This is produced by Spank Brother. I think you only have one track on this album. Really dope. I'm contemplating, my soul is in a country fight with God to save the rap or crack. I go hard for paper, niggas ain't even as smart as Deja. And think they rockin' me to sleep with poppin' me with heat. I don't even take you serious, I think. And then this next track's produced by J Love also, who did the first track that I used on the Progress beat. This song is called Fallen Soldiers. Very dope song. So this album has a lot of deeper themes. I mean, he was betrayed a lot and backstabbed. He got dropped from the label. His first album never came out. So this album, he had to write another album because they weren't putting his other one out. So imagine what that must have felt like. I would have been pissed. So this album talks a lot about betrayal and phonies, and people are two-faced. Cormega seems to be one of the most straight-up people as an MC on and off the mic. Just a real genuine dude, and he actually has the Realness 2 coming this year. I think he said he's finished with it as far as the recording and the mixing and mastering. Now he's figuring out how he's going to drop it and release it to the people. He said he might even consider doing it directly to the people because he's independent, owns his own masters and publishing. Like, he went through hell to get to where he's at now. So support this man. And he's got the Realness 2 coming this year. So that should tell you if he's doing a sequel to this, it's obviously because this is a gem. Let's see. I'm still not skipping any tracks. The next track, Glory Days. This 50 Cent used this sample on one of his beats. Produced by Jay Supreme again, who did the other track, Are You My? So he's definitely a poet, man. This is poetic music, soulful instrumentation, and then on every album he has one 16-bar a cappella. On this album it's called 5 for 40. So on every track, every album he'll have like one song where he drops an a cappella 16, which is always dope, sets the tone for the next track, works as a good transition from the track before. And then there's just 2 more songs I'm going to show you here. I skipped a couple towards the end. Not that they're worth skipping, but I just can't show you every single song. So They Forced My Hand to be the next song. It's featuring Tragedy Gaddafi, Choopy's Finest. Another soulful, great beat. produced by Spunk Bigger. Not familiar with him, but this is a great beat. And then The Alchemist did the last track, which is Fallen Soldiers remix. Shout out to The Alchemist. He's on a lot of these classic albums with one or two joints here and there. A lot of people aren't familiar with his past work, but yo, trace it back, man. This guy's on a lot of great albums. And then the bonus track, the hidden track, which Killer's theme. You know, classic Mobb Deep, Havoc production, Prodigy, rhyming. And other producers on the album are Ayatollah, who's a Queensbridge producer. He's worked with Mos Def, Pharoah Monch, Ghostface Killah, M.O.P., a lot of awesome New York artists. And then Sha Money XL, who's worked with 50 Cent, G-Unit, Lloyd Banks, and Tragedy Gaddafi. He's on here with a track. Godfather Don, who's a legendary old school producer, did a track on here, and he produced for Ultramagnetic MCs on that Four Horsemen album, which is one of my favorites. Some of the dopest production I ever heard. But he did a beat on here also. And yeah, J Love did 2. Havoc has 2. Big Ty, J Supreme, and The Alchemist has 1. And yeah, this is just a great album. I would listen to it in the headphones if you're able to. You can bump it in the car too if you drive into the city or something. It's perfect for that kind of backdrop. But it's definitely headphone music. Nod your head to it, head nod music. And he's telling deep stories about life, betrayal, love, loss, death. You know, he's lost a lot of close people in his life. It's a common theme in his music. And he comes from a real place. This is one of the purest MCs ever. Shout out to Cormega. He's extremely underrated, but I think he's as good as Nas. I think he's better than Jay-Z. I think he's better than a lot of people that are claimed to be the greatest. And he's better than them, or just as good. And has more to offer and more to say. So shout out to Cormega. I used the first beat on here. The song's called The Progress. So I did the process, which is my writing process, then did the progress. This is kind of like the steps I took to get to where I'm at and how I just start out rhyming over instrumentals, even though I'm still doing that now. But that's by choice. I'm doing this now because I'm paying homage, and I want to do it because this is who I am, and I like doing this. It's fun for me. But back in the day, I had no choice. I didn't have any original production. I had no connections. Shout out to my man Zoo, who connected me with Jesse Castro, Matty Beats, and a bunch of other people who I'm working with recently too. And I need people like that, you know what I mean? Because I tried to do everything myself and I can't. So but that song's about the progress though, and how much progress I've made, and the ups and downs, and you know, the things that you have to go through to be an aspiring MC. And so this is the progress. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm glad I stuck with what I'm doing. Thank you for tuning in and listening to my music. This episode 5, the homage continues. Check out Cormega. And his next album that came out after the Realness was The True Meaning. Check this out also. It's amazing. And then The Testament came out. So those first 3 are gems. Absolute gems. And then also I have Mega Philosophy on CD here. And has a couple other albums that are amazing also that you need to check out. I forget the name of the one. Born and Raised. You need to check that album out also. You got DJ Premier on there, Large Pro in production. You got Tragedy Gaddafi, Havoc featured on there as well. Marley Marl, Lil Fame. All these Queensbridge legends, and the production on there is amazing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And be on the lookout for the Realness 2 coming this year. From what I've heard, it has great production and features. Alchemist is on there again. I don't know who else is on there, but he's been posting about it. Nothing but like really exciting stuff. So shout out to Cormega. Be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I'll be back next week. Peace.